Hi everyone. Today we're gonna talk about the different ways to approach and use the reactive state. So on the left hand side, this is a very traditional state management throughout the entire React components. So let's say this is a parent component and this is a child component. How you bring the data to the child component, then using props, right? So you define the user states here and then bring to the child components right there. On the other way around, inside of your child component, if you needed to trigger execution method, you have to emit it up to the parent level to do it. So this is a high order component. This is the way the React it's doing right now. But yeah, this is nothing wrong about it until something reason that I found, and if let's say if you're adding another state, right, and in order for you to to calculate and make a account to it. So each account added to it, and it will invoke entire, the state gets changed. So inside of the function like that, it will be, re-rendered, added one at a time. As soon as you click, you will see. If you do some, test, you will see each click, and also this will be invoked as well and add up. So that's the things make your React component. It gets more slow because it's added up, right? So yeah, and there was some solution that I realized, and I can solve this problem, which is introduce in something called useCallBack hook. So this is a dedicated for this type of function, which is if you look at the syntax, you see. This really tells you will return memorize the version of the callback that only change if one of the input has changed. So which means it doesn't care. So any other state, it could change, right? And only he's care about sort of the state. If this state changes, so you will invoke this as set post, the actions, which is a bring in the post and then added the new post on top of that. So this will be fulfill that. Yeah, this is great. And then, but I'm still not satisfied with this type of approach, because you see, what happened if you have a parent and a children component and another children component, so that will lead like props go downs to staging and go down very deep side of it, right? And the other way around, if you have the function you need to be triggered, so it will be emit up layer by layer until the parent layer to get execution, right? Doesn't matter you're using this way and that way. So this will be kind of the issue if you build a large, quite of a large application and needs this type of a relationship. So then React, some new features of React has been created as something is called, and I want to introduce here, which is really is the useReducer. So this is really is the idea from the React Redux, right? Which is centralized, state management, and then that approach can be avoid pivot down to the chart component, right, by passing those props very deep inside of it and emit up the feature functions executed on the top level. Everything will be centralized and managed through the reducer. Okay, let me just go in there to tell you how the things are working. So basically, in order to get this work, you need to introduce you need to import in the use context and alongside with the useReducer, right? From the very beginning, you should define that. Let's say for example, this is really the same thing, you know. I just created a project try to explain that. So this is the poster context we created in the beginning, right? And inside of the context we defined the post array, right? And that's the state. And then we exporting it. So the reason exporting it, you know, you will see in the child component, we just from here we quickly we can just import entire, you know, post context, right? Inherited into the child component to use. But how to do this? Basically, you know, you need to wrap it on top of the, you know, the child component right here. So bring in the state and the dispatch. Okay, which is you define it here. useReducer, right here, and then you have you know, the state, and then you bring in an action, right? And then so you need you know, initial, you know, the poster stays right from here. So we just initial here and then bring in, right, and wrap on top of the child component. So that immediately, so this is use context, poster context will be immediately available through your entire child component. Doesn't matter how deep it is, this will be available. So anywhere if you want to use it, you can just reference that in, right? And then from here you define use context as a post context, right? And then you can start using the dispatch. So what's this is the, you know, dispatch feature is really important. That this dispatch feature will be passing object to the reducer instead of object. There's a type and a payload, right? And then two elements. So and then bring into the reducer from the here, from the reducer you accept the states and actions, right? And then you will do the switch and determine which, you know, states you bring in. Let's say if this is case, you bring in add a post, right? So basically you will we'll spread it in the old post and then add a new post on top of the post, right? And that will be assigned to the post array, which is you defined at the very beginning right here. Let me just show you right here. You bring that. So this post array in the state will get changed. So as soon as that, so as I mentioned, you know, anywhere if you reference in the use context post content, that post will be available. So it doesn't matter how deep your children's will be. So right, and you know, yeah. So this is the one of the way. And an example is like that we also can do like here we do the handle submit, right? We'll really do the add post actions, right? And then also you can do delete post action as well. It doesn't matter anywhere you do, or you need to just pass in an ID, right, as the payload, right? And then it will dispatch to the reducer. So reducer function will take your action. So what you will do, it will bring in, you know, the delete the post ID, which is ID, right? And then you will you'll go through state post state, right? And it will filter that and then make sure this will be eliminated from the list, and then return with the post, which was the updated post. So again, this post will be ready as soon as this action is being triggered, right? Will be updated, you know, inside of the post content. So this post content again, so it will cross entire application, will get the information updated. So this is the way, you know, the reducer is doing. Look, so compare with the previous sample, right? So you know we don't have any, you know, pivot down or, you know, emit up the method type of the circulation. Instead, you know, everything will be centralized the manager through the reducer, and then we'll get the, you know, post the context change. This is really is the feature function from React, the using reducer and the use context combined. So I think this is a good approach. Typically, when you are using a bigger medium size, you know, the React application, this is quite useful. And not only that, it will you know, eliminate those type of the hidden error, right? Like a very beginning that I just mentioned, if you don't know this is under hood, and you know, you don't know things is happening when you add it up another new the stay, right? And constantly, your stay needs to be updated. And so this is a good approach. And yes, hopefully this is a comparison topic I just wanted to bring up to you for to discuss. And if you're interested, you can leave a comment for me. Other than that, we'll see you next time. Bye for now.